All right, when we talk about lactose intolerant, so the first thing I think about when I think about lactose intolerant was a situation where I was eating dinner with one of my good friends. We're eating our food, specifically we're eating some kebab, some chicken kebab, fantastic place in my house area. I'm not gonna tell you where I live. So we eat there, and I always have to, after every kind of meal that I eat, I need some kind of dessert, and I love ice cream. And so there's this place next door where they make the ice cream, fantastic ice cream. I always get my banana ice cream and marshmallows. And my friend always tries to avoid these different kinds of sweets. And I ask him, why do you always avoid these sweets? That's insulting to me and my culture. And so he keeps telling me, no. And I'm very, very good at peer pressuring. I'm very good at peer pressuring people because I can very convince people that you probably need this ice cream, okay? So we decided to get the ice cream. He got chocolate, I got banana, and we enjoyed it. Best sensation of all time. Always after, when you have a great meal, when you have a great dessert following it, right? I always tell people sometimes when you think about it, diet is a myth, okay? Now, I went home, I had a great time, I fell asleep, everything was great. I get a text message from him around 3 in the morning. Thank you for the meal, thank you for buying the meal, and thank you for persuading me for the ice cream. I had very nice bloody diarrhea. So I replied I wanted to be polite and everything. So I told him, you're welcome. But I also told him, asked him a question, are you lactose intolerant? He's like, yes, I am. And I asked him, why didn't you bring that up? You could have easily said that and I would have just left you alone. But he didn't. So when we think about lactose intolerant, so what is that? When we look at the specific type of sugar, so lactose is a specific type of sugar that gets broken down in the small intestine. So lactose, with the specific enzyme that we're going to look at here, let's bring our markers. Lactase, so this enzyme here, lactase, breaks down lactose into two monosaccharides or more sugars, glucose and galactose. So we're going to talk about these two metabolites. And these two metabolites are used to generate ATP. So glucose is one of those main molecules that is involved in metabolism, so the process of glycolysis. Galactose gets converted through these different kind of metabolic processes to become glucose and eventually gets, again, broken down. Patients that exhibit these lactose intolerant are deficient in this enzyme lactase, okay? So what happens, rather than going in the small intestine, as the lactose enters the small intestine and it has all of these molecules broken down, it actually goes into the colon. Now, as it goes into specifically the colon, what's really important about that is that there's a process of fermentation that happens. In the colon, we have a lot of what kind of cells? We have a lot of bacterial cells. So these bacterial cells use this lactose now, and they begin a process of fermentation. So you have fermentation taking place, and if you remember what fermentation is, buildup of certain acids and specific gases. And so this leads to increase in gas, increase in gastric motility. What else could happen in this situation? Okay, you can have this decrease in pH, so the stomach becomes very acidic, and so this environment becomes very, very, very disrupted. So there's a buildup of inflammation. And so these patients that exhibit this lactose intolerant, what's really important about them is they treat this new molecule, this lactose that's being fermented, as a toxin. So what do? They flush everything out. So that's why a lot of patients that have lactose intolerant, they can't break down lactose, so they increase the gas. Because of the fermentation process, there's an increase in gas, increase in motility due to the decrease in pH and inflammation, which eventually leads to immediate defecation, right? It makes you go to the bathroom immediately. And so these patients now, but because we live in such a beautiful world, America, always be happy. We're in a great place. They actually made specific products that are either lactose-free. So there's lactose-free milk, or there's even milks that have the enzyme lactase present in it. So for example, if you're like wondering, oh, I love the taste of milk and I don't want to drink milk because I don't want to have these problems, go to the supermarket. On the label, it'll say either lactose-free or lactase milk, lactase present. So you either need this enzyme, this lactase enzyme needs to be present in order to break down lactose to prevent these kinds of symptoms, or the absence of this metabolite, lactose, to prevent any kinds of this lactose intolerant to be taking place, all these different symptoms. Either or, we have choices now, which is nice.